Hey everyone, it's hard to not see the constant complaints about video games causing violence coming down from government officials and not just let out an exhausted sigh and then repost the same conclusive studies that clearly show there's no connection between video games and real world violence, and then have anyone that, grew up playing video games agree with you, which is a lot of people, and then you just move on with your life to continue playing games because you love them. And that's kind of how it's gone for decades now. Politicians make a fuss, ignore the real issues that could be causing young people to commit acts of violence, and then just move on to the next thing.
We've gotten used to the feeling of gaming being sort of invincible to attacks like this, whether that's because the majority of the population actively plays video games or because the video game industry brings in billions upon billions of dollars every year to our economy, and people tend to not want to mess with anything that makes money in this country.
Yeah.
So it's easy to ignore when people start bitching about those damn video games. But apparently this time it's different, and despite proving time and time again that gaming is just another form of art and entertainment, companies are taking the hints from the current government and actually attempting to do something about it. And it's kind of worrisome because this very well could be just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So on Thursday of this week, the biggest retailer in the United States, Walmart, they were the first to take a step towards video game censorship, because it's being reported that their stores have started removing video game signing and displays that even reference violence, and they've apparently even gone so far as to remove playable demos of games that might contain violence. What's worse about this is that the whole removal of these signs and demos is completely reliant on whatever Walmart's definition of the term violent is, and what they're willing to consider violent gameplay. Is it games that are rated M for mature and feature actual weapons and humans? Does it extend to games where violence doesn't exist in reality and there's no blood? What about RPGs based entirely in the past where you wield a sword or use magic?
What about Madden?
What about Madden?
Those guys get really bad concussions.
Yeah.
What about that?
Mm-hmm. Walmart is historically pretty conservative when it comes to entertainment in general, and for years, specifically with music, they've demanded that record labels offer censored version of albums so that they could stock those on their shelves as well.
Yep.
So the chances are pretty high that they'd be casting a wide net when defining what is or isn't considered too violent for their stores.
According to multiple sources, Walmart employees were notified at work thanks to posted notices about the new policy, and obviously those notices have found their way online through Reddit posts and tweets. Here's one example posted by Twitter user Kenneth Shepard. Immediate action. Remove signing and displays referencing violence. Review your store for any signing or displays that contain violent images or aggressive behavior. Remove from the sales floor or turn off these items immediately. Use your best judgment when determining whether an element is appropriate. If you're unsure, remove the item or turn it off as a precautionary measure. When did we start calling signage signing?
It's their words, and also any type of aggression, even microaggressions, which
if that's a slippery slope, Walmart.
Yeah, that's a real slippery slope. This whole thing's a big old slippery, it's a slip and slide. Welcome to summer. Anyways, the notice continues and gives their employees specific orders, stating, turn off or unplug any video game display consoles that show a demo of violent games, specifically PlayStation and Xbox units. Cancel any events promoting combat-style or third-person shooter games that may be scheduled in electronics. Verify that no movies depicting violence are playing electronics. At least they're going after movies now, too.
Great.
Turn off any hunting season videos that may be playing in sporting goods and remove any monitors or displays that show the videos. So the sportsmen, they're not going to enjoy being censored. I can count on that.
What are you selling in that section?
We'll get to it. And then it continues, check all signing throughout the store and remove any referencing combat or third-person shooter video games.
First-person shooters are still good to go, apparently.
I guess so.
Probably not.
No.
Anyway, first off, this obviously does not bode well for the somewhat recent partnership between Walmart and Esports Arena, which now has satellite arenas inside 5 Walmarts across the country where they would hold events. What happens now?
Oops, my daisies.
But aside from that, it's also completely fucking ridiculous because Walmart is sending out these notifications and taking swift action against gaming while at the same time having absolutely no problem selling guns, actual guns that actually fire bullets
and kill people
in their stores. And to be fair, Walmart has rolled back on a lot of their gun sales and raised the legal age in which you can purchase a gun or ammunition. But it's just kind of astonishing that on the one hand, they're taking such an immediate and hard stance on video games, while at the same time still saying, when you're bored over in the electronics section, why not come out to to our sportsman section and check out our shotguns and rifles, which, you know, if you really wanted to, there's nothing we can do about it. You could kill someone with it.
But don't touch those video games. No, no, no.
Hold on there, buddy.
We see you going for that video game.
Put down the goddamn game.
Yeah, or I'll get the shotgun, says the Walmart employee. Now, as if that wasn't enough, it's also being reported that ESPN, which is owned by ABC and Disney, has decided to cancel esports broadcasts from its network, at least temporarily. A notice was recently sent to ABC affiliate channels, and this notice was acquired by Rob Breslau. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Who, by the way, he did a fantastic job this week during appearances on major news networks when defending video games and the people who play them, which is pretty much everyone.
Still pretty surreal that he even has to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's out there, you know, speaking well on behalf of apparently all gamers.
Yeah, it's great that we have a representative of the industry that's willing to go on all these shows and just beg these people to understand.
Yeah, the man has the patience of a saint.
So anyways, the notice that he was able to acquire, it read this. Dear ABC affiliate, out of respect for the victims and all those impacted by the recent shootings, ABC will no longer air EXP Invitational Apex Legends at X Games on Sunday, August 11th, 2019 in the 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific time period. E60 Forever Broncos will now air in the same time period. An official booking will be issued shortly.
Does Apex Legends even have blood?
Yeah. If there is blood in the game, it's negligible, and I haven't noticed it.
I'm always the one getting killed, so you can't see yourself.
Yeah, that's the problem, though, is that I've been so desensitized to violence because of video games that I don't even know if there's blood in it.
You know, sometimes I just get so mad at the world that I want to set up a teleportation device and just fly across the map instantly. And you know what? One of these days I might just teleport.
Exactly.
Anyway, so there's a lot to unpack here. They're not showing a video game competition because it's a shooter game, but it's a fucking Apex Legends thing, which takes place in a cartoon fantasy world and is in no way realistic at all.
Yeah.
It's like a step below Fortnite. It is Apex Legends, for Christ's sake. I mean, maybe if it were Call of Duty, I would actually understand.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would still be a bit ridiculous.
Call of Duty, yeah.
But you would understand ABC doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
It would still be an overreaction.
That game's meant to be real. It's based on real locations and weapons and events. I would understand.
So,
it would still be a little ridiculous, but this is just an overreaction. Instead of showing a video game, they're showing a documentary about a hockey team that died in a bus crash. All right.
Yeah.
And sure, somewhere out there, Colin Cowherd is jizzing in his dad jeans at the thought of ESPN not showing esports. I was right, damn it.
Yep. Nope, I will not come back to ESPN.
Cancel all of them.
The herd is doing just fine.
This is just a start.
The booger eaters. Too many booger eaters. I'm glad they finally got it off the network.
But it's 2019. There's obviously a huge audience for this. It's part of an overall event that they're already covering there.
It's the X Games.
Yeah, and it's a fantasy game where people have special powers. So, come on.
It's really ridiculous. Now, at the very least, it seems like this decision won't be a permanent one, or maybe it will. Who the fuck knows? But it appears as though they're just pulling back on this event as a direct reaction to this shooting. Luckily, mass shootings are very rare in this country, so the chances of ESPN having to cancel an esports broadcast in the future is very minimal. And that was sarcasm, because based on some of the comments we receive, our sarcasm sometimes doesn't come across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks, but gotta really
people
just
still
tell you when I'm not being serious.
People still think that we think that AR stands for assault rifle.
Well, assault rifle 15.
Don't do that. They're gonna think you're.
There were 14 assault rifles that weren't very good, and they were like, let's give it one more shot.
But we were better than the Russians. It took them 47 tries.
47 tries to make the perfect assault rifle.
Yeah. Anyways, in some follow-up tweets, Rod explains further, saying, the hour-long recap that was set for this Saturday at 10 p.m. on ESPN2 is no longer in the programming schedule, but can still be watched on ESPN3. The broadcast will still be shown on TV at a later date, according to an event source. And note, the EXP Apex Legends X Games tournament itself already happened this past weekend and can be found on the ESPN Esports YouTube. This is just for the ESPN TV broadcast.
Wait, it already happened?
And listen, based on all of that, the fact that it's going to air in other places within the network and is on their YouTube channel, the entire idea of scrubbing the broadcast from a more popular channel in response to a shooting is just absolutely ridiculous and comes across as posturing.
I don't know. Maybe it has nothing to do with the guns. Maybe there were just so many heated gaming moments in this tournament. They're like,
They can't stop saying the N-word.
I don't know how
I
don't know how I'm supposed to edit this around all of the constant racial slurs.
Yeah.
Let's just, use the convenient excuse that our terrible timeline has presented us with and cancel it under those pretenses.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we got to admit, all these people are dropping the M-bomb just constantly.
Yeah.
This is way better.
But yeah, it's posturing. They're literally showing it everywhere. They're making a big statement here to not put it on their main channel so that they look good for some reason. They obviously don't give a fuck. That's clear.
Yeah, it's all stupid. And it only seems to be different now because Trump decided to directly target video games in his speech earlier this week. Thank you, Mr. President. Companies are well aware of the fact that gaming brings them massive profits, but big companies also know that we have a mob boss in charge of the country, and they have to kiss the ring a little bit to stay in his good graces.
So yeah, you make these little concessions and
you play the game.
Yeah.
They start making little changes here or there. They hope that it's enough until the next shooting when, I don't know, they might have to respond more severely because politicians are going to blame video games again and wonder why these companies aren't doing enough to protect all of us from the greatest threat to America, gaming.
Now you need to take the games off the shelf. It didn't work last time when you just censored everything. I don't know what else to do. Just ban them.
Yeah.
We tried covering it all up so people wouldn't see it, but somehow people went crazy, and
I kind of hope that happens just to see the console gamers cry. Meanwhile, I'm over here downloading all my games. No physical media for me.
Anyways, I know we mentioned Trump, but hey, hold on. Where are you going, Joe Biden? Get back here.
Grandpa Joe.
Your dumbass has been fighting against video games for years.
Yeah.
In fact, as recently as 2013, he spearheaded a meeting with a group of representatives from the gaming industry and basically told them that video games cause violence. And in an interview with CNN this week, when asked about Trump's stance on violent video games, Joe Biden said this: "I've talked about it too. It is not healthy to have these games teaching the kids the dispassionate notion that you can shoot somebody and kind of blow their brains out." Not mincing words. When Anderson Cooper gave Japan as an example of a country that loves video games but has very low levels of violent crime, he responded, "Well, that's my point. It's not in and of itself the reason this carnage is on our streets," which still means he thinks it's part of the problem. Just that there's other factors as well, and I can't think of what those other factors might be.
Yeah, what could the missing factor be?
Say the word, Joe.
Ugh.
But he's not good at talking, as we know.
Why is his approval rating so high still? It is baffling to me.
He has name recognition.
We are really burning the candle at both ends of the political spectrum in this country when fucking Joe Biden is polling 10 points higher than anyone else running for president.
And
come on.
It's a good example because our politicians that are polling well, they all look like melted wax candles.
That's true.
They're very old.
That's true. Anyway, also both Trump and Biden, they both had gaffes when trying to even remember where these shootings took place. Trump said Toledo instead of Dayton.
Yeah.
He was literally reading off a fucking teleprompter.
He had said Dayton multiple times.
The man has dyslexia. I'm convinced. Biden said Houston and Michigan. Wow. Twice as bad as Trump.
Yeah.
Good job, Biden.
Yeah, you had to top him, didn't you?
Yeah, Houston and Michigan instead of El Paso and Ohio. Just really, I'm going to throw a dart at a map of the United States. I'm going to aim for where the shootings were, but I'm old, my hands are shaky.
Well, at this point, you just say anything, and it's probably happened there.
Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to say get all old people out of politics, but these two, I would like them to
go away.
You've done a lot. You've really made an impact.
Time to retire.
It's
it's fine. Take a break.
Get out of the White House, old man.
Anyways, if you want to know even more about the government versus gaming, check out our latest episode of Tech News Day. And if you'd rather have a laugh after all of this, still based on serious issues, check out our most recent episode where we go hog wild on whether or not feral hogs are the real threat to this country. Also, we, of course, have a weekly exclusive podcast that's available right now to all Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Please head to our Patreon by using the link below. Sign up, support the show, get some extra content. We really, really appreciate it. You keep the show running. You keep these very hot lights on. So thank you for that. And we'll see you very soon for News Dump and Weekly Weird News.
Bye-bye.